And just when you start believing you've understood the system, hooks optimized, retention stabilized, audience defined, another, far more subtle force begins to surface, something most creators never consciously notice but constantly feel: the invisible pressure of competition density. Because in 2026, you're not just competing against creators in your niche. You're competing against every single piece of content fighting for the same fraction of a second in a viewer's mind, and that battlefield is more crowded, more aggressive, and more intelligent than ever before. At any given moment, your short is placed inside a stream where dozens of other videos are being silently compared against it, not just on quality, but on performance probability. And the algorithm is constantly asking one ruthless question: which of these will hold attention longer? And if your content doesn't win that comparison instantly, it doesn't matter how good it is in isolation. It loses in context. This is where creators begin to realize something uncomfortable. Your real competition isn't the average creator. It's the best performing version of content that exists on the platform at that exact moment. Meaning your video isn't judged on effort. It's judged on superiority, on whether it can outperform what the viewer just watched or is about to watch next. And this is why incremental improvement is no longer enough. Because if you're only getting slightly better with each video, you're still falling behind a system that's evolving in real time, learning from millions of data points, constantly recalibrating what engaging looks like, and raising the bar without ever announcing it. So the creators who break through in this environment don't just improve, they adapt aggressively. They study not just their own content, but the entire ecosystem around them, identifying patterns in what's currently working, not to copy them blindly, but to understand the underlying mechanics driving their success. Because every viral short carries a hidden blueprint, a combination of timing, emotion, structure, and delivery that aligns perfectly with current viewer behavior. And once you learn to decode these blueprints, you stop chasing trends and start anticipating them. But here's where things get even more intense. The algorithm doesn't just reward good performance, it rewards relative dominance. Meaning, if your video performs significantly better than others in the same pool, it gets disproportionately more exposure, creating those sudden, explosive growth spikes that seem impossible from the outside. And that's why two similar videos can have completely different outcomes, because one slightly outperforms the rest in its test group, triggering a chain reaction of amplification, while the other gets left behind, not because it failed, but because it didn't win. This creates a new kind of pressure, a silent demand for excellence in every upload, where good enough simply isn't enough anymore, and consistency means more than just showing up. It means showing up with content that can compete at the highest level, every single time. And yet, within this pressure lies an opportunity, because most creators burn out trying to keep up, overwhelmed by the pace, confused by the changes, eventually falling back into randomness. But a small percentage learn to operate differently, more strategically, more intentionally. They stop treating content like isolated posts and start treating it like a system of leverage, where each video is designed not just to perform, but to strengthen the next one, building momentum over time, instead of relying on individual success. This is where momentum stacking comes into play, a concept that separates fast growth from sustainable dominance. Because when multiple videos begin to perform well within a short period, they don't just add up, they multiply, reinforcing your presence in the algorithm's recommendation loops. And suddenly, your channel starts appearing more frequently. Your content gets prioritized. Your audience grows faster, not because of one viral hit, but because of a series of strong performances that signal reliability at scale. But achieving this requires a shift in mindset from, "I hope this video works," to, "This video is designed to work," a level of intentionality that forces you to think deeper about every element. Why this hook? Why this pacing? Why this ending? And how each choice impacts viewer behavior. Because by this stage, randomness is no longer an excuse, and luck is no longer a strategy, and the gap between those who understand this and those who don't becomes impossible to ignore. And then comes the realization that changes everything. That growth in 2026 isn't about chasing the algorithm. It's about aligning with it so precisely that your content becomes exactly what the system is already looking for. And once that alignment happens, even briefly, even for a few videos, you feel it. That sudden surge, that unexpected traction, That moment where things finally start to click. And for the first time, growth doesn't feel like a mystery anymore. It feels like a pattern you can repeat. Because in the end, the creators who win aren't the ones who try harder. They're the ones who understand deeper, who see what others miss, who adapt before the system forces them to. And when you reach that level, you're no longer reacting to the algorithm. You're moving with it, step by step, signal by signal, until the line between strategy and instinct begins to disappear. And what once felt impossible starts to feel inevitable.